Hello there. Welcome to our conversation today on New Mom Must-Haves, what you need to know, have, and do. My name is Sylvia Velasco, Vice President of the Mommy Care Kit. I have worked for many years helping moms-to-be during their pregnancy journey. Pregnancy is an exciting time, but it can be very overwhelming. There are many voices telling you what to do, what to get, what not to get, and it's a lot. The stakes are high. This is about your baby. Let's take a deep breath. It's all going to be okay. It doesn't have to be very complicated at all. I've found that speaking with moms, having groups is very helpful. I'm so glad to be here with you today, along with some amazing moms. They've been through this and they're going to give a lot of their expert advice. So I'd like to introduce you to them. They're experts for today. First, we're going to start with Bryn Hunt Palmer. Hi, Bryn.
Hi.
She's the founder of the Birth Hour podcast, featured as one of the top 50 podcasts by Time Magazine and has over 26 million downloads to date. Bryn is also the author of the First Time Mom's Pregnancy Handbook. Welcome, Bryn.
Thank you so much.
We also have Abby Hoskins. Hi, Abby.
Hi, guys.
She's a mom of 4, a stepmom to 2, and after nearly a decade since her last child, she and her husband of 4 years, Matt, are welcoming a baby girl in December of this year. Welcome, Abby.
Thanks.
And we also have Chandler Rosemont Garcia. Hi, Chandler.
Hey, everyone.
She's a registered pediatric intensive care unit nurse. She's a master's graduate at Dartmouth, and for master's in public health, and a UNICEF board chair. As an experienced global nurse volunteer, Chandler's mission is to provide and create substantial preventative healthcare education programs for women and children in the world's most vulnerable areas. In June of this year, she gave birth to her first daughter, Emily Sophia. I'm so excited to connect with all of you today, and let's get started. What are the absolute essentials every new mom should have before the baby arrives? What do you think, Bryn?
Oh gosh. So I always say newborns really don't need a whole lot. They get more expensive as they get older, but there are a few must-haves. You need a safe place for baby to sleep. You need a way to feed baby. Could go a few different ways there. A diapering system of some sort, and then a car seat if you're going to be in a city where you're going to be driving. And that's really, correct me if I'm wrong, ladies, but I feel like that's really it as far as bare essentials.
No, I agree. I feel like it's easy to overcomplicate it, and you see all the social media posts of all the things you need, and it's so overwhelming. But if there's one piece of advice, it's just to complicate it, and all of those things that you buy, make sure that they really are things that you need. Otherwise, it will just add stress and clutter to your already stressful life as a new-time mom.
I would just add that having a hospital-grade breast pump, if you're planning on breastfeeding, would just be nice to have it kind of in the house for just, a safety net. And then also, if you're nervous about breastfeeding, or let's say you had a C-section and your milk coming in takes a little bit longer, there's no problem with having some formula on hand just to have that peace of mind.
That's true. A lot of moms get so, especially with your hormones and everything, where the breastfeeding, sometimes they go to the formula and that wasn't in their plans. So sometimes that can be it can let them down. Don't you think?
Yeah, I would also be prepared. Like, I think you're focusing on baby. You have all the swaddles, you have all the things that you need, but you also need to be nurtured and taken care of too. And so making sure you have like the breast pump or the pads or some way to collect your breast milk if you're leaking, or just the comfy clothes in the hospital, something that makes you feel like you're also being nurtured, because it's your job to nurture baby. You need to be nurtured as well.
That's true. And what do you think? How can first-time moms avoid overspending or buying unnecessary products? What do you think, Chandler?
Well, a lot of people don't realize that the hospital will provide a bunch of free supplies for you. even just from like my experience in the PICU, we'll give a lot of the supplies that are in the room to the parents and to the families and the patients, because they have to get disposed of just for like cleanliness standards. So the hospital provides a lot for mom. They'll give you numbing spray. They'll give you some pads, some Tux pads, and like a perennial spray bottle. And then for baby, they usually give you a bulb suction that helps, just clear their nasal passageways, wipes, diapers, and a thermometer, in addition to some like informational books and pamphlets. I just feel like this is an area that you can save a little bit of money that not a lot of people really realize or think about. And then me personally, I utilized Facebook Marketplace. I felt like there were so many lightly used baby items there, especially like little chairs, little high chairs, things that you could easily wipe down. And baby clothes you can buy secondhand. That saves you so much money. The baby's in it, once, maybe 3 times if you're lucky, before they outgrow it. So those are my ways. I would
Also
suggest.
utilize like your siblings or your neighbors and friends, because chances are they have a lot of experience in this as well. And so in a day and age where it's so easy to get what you need really quickly, don't overbuy at the beginning. Just kind of wait it out, see what you need, see what your baby's needing or not using, and just kind of go from there is my opinion. Yeah.
Yeah, along with the Facebook Marketplace, buy nothing groups on Facebook are great. I think that baby items are something people are very eager to get rid of when they're done with them. They take up a lot of space. They're not cute a lot of times. So yeah, you can get a lot of stuff just for free on a buy nothing group as well.
True. That's very, very interesting. True. Can you recommend any multi-use baby items that can save both space and money? What do you think, Bryn?
Yeah, I think the biggest one that comes to mind for me is the pack and play, or any kind of,
say that.
Yeah.
We
loved our pack and play. Baby can safely sleep in it from day one. There's, cool attachments now if you want to like combine it and make it also your changing table, or, different levels for a newborn bassinet and things like that. But the regular one's great too. And they can use it, until they're a toddler. You can take it with you when you travel. We actually never owned a crib with our first 2 babies. They loved their pack and play. And now we still keep it for when friends come to visit. We have it. So yeah, very useful item.
It also makes a really good baby containment center. If you have a toddler at this point, you can put balls in it, and it can be like a safe place to put your baby if you're traveling, things like that. So
a safe place to take, while you take a shower, put your baby in there. You can set up the monitor to point at it or whatever. It rolls around, and there's all different sizes. So if you live in a smaller apartment in the city or something like that, I definitely would recommend that over a crib.
Right.
We just took our first flight with Amelie, and you have to like think very strategically about bringing so much stuff that this tiny little human requires, but somehow making it compact. And so we ended up buying the Duna, which is the 2-in-1 stroller car seat. And it was such a game changer. Just the ease of having it immediately become a stroller when you're ready to push, getting her in and out of Ubers and cars. So that would be my little hack right there.
That one is on my list.
Yes.
Amazing. They didn't have that 10 years ago when I had my twins, although I would have needed 2 of them back then.
Yeah, along the lines of transporting baby, a baby carrier is really great too. And again, those have evolved a lot since my first baby. Now you can get one that works from, newborn through like 45 pounds or something like that. I don't know if you're still carrying your baby when they're that big, but it's something that lasts a long time. You can use it for all your kids, loan it to a friend, get it back when you're having a baby again. And I just have a lot of like sweet memories around my carrier.
Yeah, it's like the car seat and the stroller are 2 like non-negotiable. You just have to make the investment because they will last you years. And a lot of the strollers these days too will convert into a double stroller. So if you're having more than one baby, just get an extra attachment and you're good to go for the next one.
That's right. And I mean, I see how everything has evolved and how everything has changed. It's incredible how
it's overwhelming, but it's so great. It's so cool.
Exactly. Chandler, what are some of the must-haves for postpartum recovery that moms often overlook? What do you think?
I mean, moms often overlook everything entirely for themselves. That might be a
So
forward
true.
statement, but
Yeah.
guilty there. Feel like you're just so consumed by baby that like you cannot even process what's going on with your own body. Like you just birthed a human. Like you need to take care of yourself as well. The first thing, like nursing wise, that comes to mind is regardless of how you have your baby, vaginally, C-section, you are going through huge fluid shifts and your body is really just flushing out excess fluid. So I lived in my compression stockings for like the first, I want to say 2 months. I wore them all around the house. And then I was really just flushing out that water, that excess fluid with coconut water, electrolytes. And then I was just breastfeeding too. So I really needed to be replenishing my electrolytes. So I would say that coconut water or some type of like electrolyte packet, such as drip drop or liquid IV was really important. And then obviously your perennial care needs. A lot of people don't think about Epsom salts, but you can do a nice soak and that is really healing. And don't underestimate the power of Tux pads. I would say like there was like exactly. But I would say the Tux pads were I ended up buying a lot more of those because they were really helpful. And I used those for almost a month. And then this goes without really saying it, but your Tylenol, your Advil, your stool softeners, comfy nursing bras, because when your milk comes in, it's not a comfortable feeling. And comfy pants, because regardless of how you had the baby, things are going to be a little bit puffy in some place. And if you have a C-section, you have a scar, you want pants that aren't going to be hitting on your incision. So something stretchy that you can pull over. When you're in a diaper, you want something baggy that is comfy for you. Also, tops that are just easy to breastfeed with, like that button down the front. I feel like those were really important for those late night feeds when you end up putting your shirt on backwards, upside down. The whole world's haywire. And then I'd also say the silver cups that go over your nipples, especially for first-time breastfeeding moms, when your nipples are getting used to all of that. Those were really helpful. And last, and certainly not least, is having a support system in place, whether it be your husband, your mom, hired help, just someone who can be there so you can take a shower, so you can take a nap while the baby naps and not be worried about the baby the entire time.
Yeah, super important.
And don't be afraid to ask for help either. I think it's so important as a new time mom, and people know that you're going to need help. So it's okay to be like, can you just hold the baby for a minute? So like you said, I can get in the shower. I just need to feel normal for a second, One thing that I really loved, I had an emergency C-section with my first and then subsequent C-sections. And the belly binders were really helpful for me to feel like I could support myself, because you aren't really using a whole lot of your ab muscles, in the early times. So that was really helpful for me too.
Yeah, I didn't discover the belly binder until my third baby.
Oh my gosh, they're the best.
Births, but yeah, still really helpful. Helps you feel, just like everything's so loose down there.
I know. I'm using one right now in my pregnancy to like help my back problems. Like they're the best.
Yes, great. Chandler, what are your top recommendations for baby safety gear that moms should prioritize?
I love my Owlette device. For those of you who don't know what an Owlette is, it is a little sock that tracks heart rate and oxygen for the baby. My PICU brain, like I just need to know that my baby's okay. It helps me sleep better at night, just knowing that she's okay, and it would alert me if something were to ever be, out of normal limits. And then I also feel like it's really important to have a camera whenever baby's not with you that is not dependent on Wi-Fi. Gosh forbid Wi-Fi were to ever, if you were to lose power or something. So mine is a dual one. It's Wi-Fi, but it's also distance-based. So I kind of have that coverage. And then for the first 2 months, I kept a bulb suction, which is the thing that kind of sucks their boogies out or fluid out of their mouth. I kept one right at the head of her bed, not in her bed, but like kind of tucked into the mattress. It's totally normal for babies to have extra fluid that they need help getting out. And so for me, that made me feel more secure. And now if she has anything, I use the Frida nose aspirator, which is electronic, and it really just gets in there and sucks it all out. And then just the normal stuff like a thermometer and emergency medications like Tylenol or Benadryl, nail clippers, little scissors, Nair in case there's a hair tourniquet. I have all of those supplies in a little bag in my baby's room. And then I also have everything packed in a separate bag for when we travel. So all I have to do is just grab it. It just makes me feel secure knowing I have it all. And she always, my little baby, always has her hands by her face, but she wants her thumbs to suck on them. So I'm always buffing her nails. So I'd say a nail buffer is an important safety device too, so she's not scratching herself. And then just thinking like overall safety, we have a first aid kit in our house. We have fire alarms, we have carbon monoxide monitors, and then we have air purifiers for her.
Perfect. Oh, you covered every aspect there.
I know, that was great. Having them in like a little spot where you can easily access them in the middle of the night is really helpful. You don't want to turn on the lights, even having like a little flashlight by their crib, or some monitors have little lights so you can kind of turn on so you can see all those things in the middle of the night because you'll be delirious.
I know, back to our point on like, how can you make motherhood easy and not have to purchase too much? For me, I'm always like teetering between this like fine line of I would rather be over prepared, which obviously requires a little bit more consumption at the same time. But for my peace of mind, just knowing, okay, I have my 2 little kits in my designated areas, like, I don't know, it helps me a lot.
That's perfect. They also make a mattress. Newton makes a mattress now that's breathable, which we just got and I'm excited to use.
So we have that one. She loves it. It's great. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm excited for that one. I worry that like the outlet might fall off or something. So kind of along the same veins of like just me being nervous. You can like, they can breathe through the mattress. So that's a peace of mind that.
Yes.
I was just gonna say, I would also add car seat safety. I don't remember the statistic, but the statistic is very high that most car seats are installed incorrectly. So just really taking the time before a baby arrives and looking at that manual. There's people who specialize in that can come check it for you, that sort of thing. And of course, making sure it's not expired and that sort of thing, but that's pretty much a given. But yeah, that installation is very stressful.
Especially as a first time parent. It's like, what is this?
Yeah. And my husband did it for me for so long. And like the first time I had to do it, I was like, oh my gosh, I haven't done this. And our baby's like 6 months old. So educating
and you can't leave the hospital without a car seat. I know this the hard way. So
wow.
Right, but they don't check how you put baby into the car seat. So you need to know how to do it before.
I've heard the fire station will check for you. Yeah.
That's a good idea.
It's like, oh, you're not going to come to my car with me to make sure you get this right?
That's true.
I have the car seat, but it's not even installed.
Yeah. Oh my goodness. Abby, how can you moms prepare their homes in terms of organization, baby proofing their homes? What do you think?
That's such a good question. There's 8 of us currently in my home, so I have to worry about teenagers and young kids kind of all over the place. I think having like a diaper station is really important, and I like to have a caddy for it that we can kind of move around. Her bedroom will be upstairs, so having her station upstairs, but then downstairs when we're mostly hanging out and stuff, having like little organizing kind of caddies, or you've seen the rolling carts that you can just keep around and roll around with you. And then in terms of like baby proofing, I feel like I'm still like focused on the newborn, and I will just take that as it comes. I remember my twins would get into completely different things than their older sister. And so, you have all the useful tools of like the doorknob things, but that's kind of a little bit later. So just focus on the newborn and getting through that like postpartum phase. And then that's what I would say anyways.
That's a whole other project to tackle.
It's too much for you to deal with.
Yeah.
Right.
Not a few months.
Yeah.
We just have set areas for her. And then the rest, like we try to keep her stuff in her little section. So then it feels like we still have our house because we have so much stuff, you guys. It's insane. So we have like her nursery, and then we have her playpen area. The rest is mom and dad's.
Yeah, I love that.
There you go. There you go. And how should moms think about self-care and their own needs during the newborn phase? What do you think of that, Bryn?
Well, I feel like Chandler addressed a lot of the things that I would say to focus on, like make sure you have comfortable clothes, comfortable nursing bras. You're going to be spending a lot of time in those clothes in this, condensed period of time. So investing in those things for yourself, you're going to get a lot more use out of that than cute baby outfits. Also, you'll be in your room a lot, in your bed a lot. Maybe you want to get some nice new sheets or a new mattress. Like, it might be the time for that. Certainly justified with how many hours you're going to be spending in bed with baby. And then again, like Chandler said, having a support system set up. We always talk about this with my audiences, talk to your partner ahead of time about the division of labor and the things that, you might not be able to do when you have a baby attached to you pretty much 24/7, and whether they can pick up some of those things you were doing, or maybe you're going to bring in outside help of friends and family or services. I think people often forget about pets. So if your dog is very needy, like plan ahead with some sort of dog walker, or maybe there's a neighborhood kid that wants to do that for you. And older siblings are a big thing, right? Like they are either going to take all your partner's attention, or you're going to need someone else's help with them. So yeah, kind of planning those things out are great conversations to have while you're still pregnant.
True.
I think it's important too to be able to advocate for yourself. And sometimes when you're in the middle of the chaos, it's really hard to know what you need. So just learning to be mindful and to kind of have a moment to write down, like, okay, what is causing me the most stress right now? And it's all of these things. And what can I do to mitigate those problems? Who can ask for help? What is it that I need? Otherwise, you'll just be frustrated and tired and lashing out at everybody in the house. And learning to advocate for yourself and what you need is just a really important skill that you just have to learn in motherhood.
Right.
I also found that in these moments, like the wee hours of the morning, the 2 a.m. feeds, the 3 a.m. feeds, where it's literally just you and baby, there's no one else that can really do it or help. Something that I did was to kind of try to make it feel like me time a little bit too, a little bit of self-care, if you will. I'd put on a crappy TV show. I'd put on some type of gossip-based show, and just something that I looked forward to restarting during those really early, tiring feeds. So it made it a little bit of okay, you know what? Mommy's getting a little fixed too right now. And my guilty pleasure was Love Island.
I love that. Being able to look forward to those is a big deal. It's a big deal. Yeah.
It sure is. It sure is. The final question, what do you know now that you'd wish you'd known when you were pregnant or from a previous pregnancy? Anything else that you want to tell expecting moms? All three of you. But first, Abby, you can start.
Oh, did you say me?
Yes, Abby.
It goes by so fast. I have a 14-year-old, a 12-year-old, 2 10-year-olds. And I honestly didn't think I would ever be pregnant at 37. I was done in my 20s. So this experience I'm actually really looking forward to, because I know how fast it goes by and how fleeting these moments are. And just being able to sit still and cherish the moments, even though it's so hard. And I would have people at the store tell me, oh, they grow up one day, so just love it. And you're literally a disaster, feeling like your life is falling apart. And I look back at that and I'm like, but they were right. If I could have just enjoyed the moment, if I could have just memorized the little faces and all of those things that you hear from, more mature parents, it's true. Just try to move through it slowly. It's a phase, it doesn't last forever, and it goes by so fast. So fast.
That's very true. Bryn?
Yeah, I agree with that. I had a 5-year gap between my second and third, and I enjoyed my third postpartum more than any others. Obviously some of that was knowing what I was doing a little bit more, but I just let myself lay in bed all day, and we would just sweat on each other and watch, Netflix. And it was great. Along those lines too, I would say take a lot of videos. Those are going to be your most cherished things to look back on. And then on the more practical side of things, I would tell my first time pregnant self to set up lactation support ahead of time. I did a lot of research. I read some books. I was having a home birth, so like I had a midwife supporting me and stuff, but even still, so many things came up with nursing that I felt so lost. And I think I called a lactation or a La Leche League leader because I had gone to one meeting while I was pregnant. I was like, I'm in so much pain and all these things. And she's like, okay, I could be there in, maybe like 3 or 4 days. And like 3 or 4 days is not what you want to hear when you're in that kind of pain. And there's so many more options now with virtual lactation support, which is amazing. I wish I'd had that. But look into those things ahead of time because when it happens, it's immediate. Every feeding, which is every 2 to 3 hours, feels like kind of a little bit of a panic attack if you don't know what you're doing or if you're in pain, and it can be very emotional and hard.
I'm a PICU nurse. Like I work with babies and kids. Like everyone, when I told them I was pregnant, they're like, oh, Chandler's got this. It's going to be a breeze. Like they'd say to my husband, oh, you're so lucky you have Chandler. When I tell you how humbled I was by my baby, like there is no amount of reading books or really like life experience that could prepare you, because that little baby, they are the boss. Like they have their own personality, their own needs, and you can try to run the show, but they're running the show. And for someone that's used to being in control and having all of my T's crossed and my I's dotted, everything looking pretty and perfect, I was very humbled by this tiny little human. And it just made me realize, like, okay, I need to take a step back. I need to slow down. And you can be as prepared as you think you are, but you really just learn when you have your baby, when you're learning your baby. And as they're growing, so are you. You've never been a mom before. They've never been a human before. So it's like parallel growth, which is beautiful. And so I just think for any new moms, this is just such an important lesson. And I wouldn't over stress about like prepping and making sure you're 1,000,000% ready for all scenarios. Just try to have some level of go with the flow. If you're type AAA personality like me, that's very difficult, but I see those people. I am you. And then one thing that I learned, because Amelie was super colicky, which was also very difficult, in those moments where she would just not settle out, and I had, trial and error of so many different things, she lived inside of me for 9 months. The best thing I could do for her was get her as close to me as possible. And I lived those first 11 weeks with her in one of those Solly wraps, just my bare chest against her bare chest, with her just in a diaper, as close to my beating heart as she could get. And if I had just known that earlier on, just slow down and just give her what she's used to, and and it's so beautiful at the same time. So that would be my advice for all.
Trust your instincts. Your baby is your baby for a reason, and you'll have maternal instincts and you'll know what to do in those moments. And I feel like if we can just lean on that, as mothers, and not second guess ourselves with everything, baby knows what to do and we'll figure it out, as you go.
That's true. Thank you so much for joining us. As we mentioned, the Mommy Care Kit is designed to help expecting mothers tackle the most common challenges during pregnancy and postpartum. We are a trusted partner of expecting and new mothers nationwide. Our collection of safe, non-addictive products ensures you can enjoy the magical journey without relying on medications. We're thrilled to announce that our kits are covered by most private insurances, making them even more accessible to everyone. Check and see if your insurance covers the Mommy Care Kit. We also offer lactation breastfeeding services by an international board certified lactation counselors, which are also covered by most insurance plans as required by the Affordable Care Act. And you do not have to qualify for the Mommy Care Kit to be able to take advantage of these lactation counseling services. If your health plan does not cover the kit, many times it will cover your breast pump with the lactation services. Visit themommycarekit.com to learn more about the Mommy Care Kit's products and to see whether your insurance covers the Mommy Care Kit. You can learn about the Mommy Care Kit on Instagram and Facebook at the Mommy Care Kit. Please contact us for any information you might have, 888-464-9015, or email us at info@themommycarekit.com. This has been an incredible conversation. I've learned so much from you, from the younger mothers, and it's the message that we're getting out there to all these new moms is incredible. So I really appreciate it, and I thank you so much for coming on the show, and thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you.